What's up, everyone? Easy22X here, and it is the grand finals of the Ray Draft League. 8 hard weeks of intense battling, and then we had the top 8, top 4, and finally the finalists for this league. As a reminder, the finals were between the Mawao Mercers and the Shallow Supporters. We did have this match on card, so we will be talking about it and expectating it after this initial talk. But I wanted to talk a little too about the journey of these two teams. Previously mentioned too is my Wild Mercers were the first seed and the Shallow Supporters were the second seed. So one of the things to talk about it was draft order. One of the things that I really like to point out is that most of the time, if you're in the lower end or in the top, usually your draft is pretty good, which was very impressive. I want to talk about Umbreon being 10th in the draft, kind of in the middle, and making it in top 4. And then we had Sohive too, who ended up being in top 4 and ending his loss in a very, very close match versus Ally Switch, aka the Mawao Mercers. But yeah, if you guys can see, on 11 and 13, Shallow Supporters and Mawao Mercers were at the very end of the draft. So Shallow Supporters actually had in my opinion, one of the better positions, because being at the end of the draft is not too bad. Like first, second, and then 13 and 14 usually is where you want to kind of look at it. Once you get into like the 6, 7, 8, I think that's the most dicey. And I do want to point out that those Nimbasa City, Volcarona, and Kansas were fighting for the spot on playoff. Kansas ended up getting it, but yeah, sometimes it can get a little bit tricky depending on where you're in the draft order. So really cool to see and point out that Ally and Atmosphere were pretty close in the draft order, and their draft order was pretty strong in my opinion. But we had some people disagreeing. So as a reminder, this was the initial power ranking we had. This is before week 1 at all. Like, we had Justified Jinx, who did make playoffs, by the way, but unfortunately ended up losing in a very close set too. But yeah, we had Justified Jinx first, then the Volcaronas and Kansas Eye Houses. Like, the first 5, 3 of them made it to playoffs. And I just want to point out, on 6, we did have Shallow Supporters. And then 9th is where we had the Mawao Mercers. So P-Dots, who was helping us figure out this draft and like getting an idea where they should all land, had the Mawao Mercers pretty mid, alright? But Ally was like, I'm ready. I'm gonna. And, after that tricky loss on week 3 versus Catfishy, it ended up working now. Let's go to talk about Mawao Mercers. So we're first seed. Mawao's Mercers draft was Metagross, Pichu, Latios, Persian, Galarian Persian, Milotic, Virizion, Abomasnow, Landorus, Clefable, Blaziken, and Luxray. And just like any draft, usually we do have some trades going on. And the one of the first trades Mawao Mercers did was actually replace that Virizion for Arctosoul. And it took a little while. I think it was the week after he battled Catfishy, if I remember. Milotic got traded with Catfishy for Raikou. And then there was one last trade before the season ended. And I really like these changes that Ally did to strengthen his team. So the final team ended up being a Raikou sticking around, and then Arctozoal got replaced with a Araquanid. While we didn't see much of our Araquanid being played in the playoffs, I do know that it did come to play eventually, and Araquanid is just such an annoying one in general to have. Very bulky, very, very annoying. I have played with it before. So really, to be honest, this team, it started very strong. I mean, Pichu and Metagross. Metagross is considered one of the stronger draft picks to do. You can't intimidate it. Like, you usually have to burn it because it's also so strong with weakness policy. Funnily enough, the weakness policy actually found itself mostly on the Latios. Really, really cool concept. I remember watching one of the matches we showcased in the stream, well, sorry, in the videos, was Metagross and Latios. And Latios actually was the Pokemon that ended up Dynamaxing instead of the Metagross. But to be honest, I talked a little bit with Ally, and he did mention that Blaziken, who is my favorite Pokemon, by the way, and where was that? And Latios, sorry. Blaziken and Latios were the real MVPs, and from the matches we did showcase, they came super clutch in a lot of them. And as I mentioned, the Latios usually had the weakness policy, and the damage, it was just so good. Like I wouldn't have usually think about like, oh, Metagross has to have the weakness policy. Not that. Another cool thing is from the last time match versus Angelo Hunter, I mean, that Raikou was so thick. Like that Raikou was not getting KO by a lot of things that Angelo was trying to hit it with. It was actually like Angelo was surprised when this thing didn't get one shot. But again, I am really happy to hear that Blaziken is one of the Mawile Murkrows MVP. As I mentioned, a little biased, and honestly, it came clutch. I mean, just the fact that you have the speed boost ability, and then you be White Herb Sash, close combat, but just such a strong Pokemon in general. I love Blaziken, so really happy to hear that about Ally when I asked him a little bit about his team. And as a reminder, a couple fun facts about the Mawile Murkrows is that after their loss to week 3 to Catfish, which by the way came to Catfish actually hitting 2 circles, or at least one, to actually defeat P2, because if Catfish had not done that, Mawile Murkrows probably would have gotten undefeated that. But Pokemon said sorry. That was the only loss that the Mawile Murkrows did, and then they went on almost, except for one of the weeks, they went 2-0. Except for 2 weeks, they were 2-0 for most of their matches. So really happy to see that. In the playoffs, obviously a little change, but they still, told everyone this is why I'm seed 1 and made it to the finals. Now, Shallow supporters, Atmosphere is not a. I want to say he doesn't play drafts. I'm pretty sure he has played drafts before, and when we started this is a little bit of an experiment before we started making this a bigger of a real league. So Atmosphere had this big idea of like, I'm just gonna build this team around, I believe what one of the older gens. He got very heartbroken when Arcanine got taken from him, and that's why he went with the next best thing, because he really was avoiding Incineroar. So he went with Torracat too. And honestly, when I saw Atmosphere team, it just felt, I looked at it and I was like, I don't know how this works. And the way Atmosphere has been playing, like he doesn't really Dynamax unless he has to. He's like has the choice specs on the Tundi, and I think Celesteela was like sometimes Live Orb. It just I just, when I saw Atmosphere team, I was like, oh boy, what am I seeing? I think it's Scarf or Specs, also Ninetales at some point, but very Atmosphere like team, very unique to him. And last season, and then they only had one loss, and that loss was to Umbreon, who he ended up beating in the semifinals. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And the MVP for the Shallow supporters was Cresselia, and I agree. I saw that Cresselia just sitting there and just like glitch seeding half the time, or it was just so thick it was not dying. I don't want to mention that every time I did watch a match, when we showcase it, I think that Thunderous also was pretty good. I believe it was versus Pocoyo. Buzzwole, I don't think it did much, but it would have been funny. I don't know if Atmosphere actually brought Shallows, but I love when you end up drafting your pet from your logo. So yeah, that was pretty much the journeys from these two respective players, and now we're gonna go watch their match. And here we go. We got Metagross, Raikou, Lando, Latios, Clefable, and Blaziken from... Oh, there's actually the weakness policy on Metagross from Ally this time. As I previously mentioned, Latios usually had the weakness policy, but it looks like it's swapped it up. And then Atmosphere is pretty much bringing the same 4, except there's no Thunderous this time. And we're seeing actually the Ninetales and the Marowak. I haven't actually seen the showdown matches from him, so it's actually pretty interesting. Okay, so very common leads from both players. A lot of the leads we have watched from them on the previous matches have been this. So now Metagross, are you gonna Dynamax? Are you gonna bring Lando? There's a high chance that Garchomp is White Herb. But yeah, it looks like Metagross is just gonna opt up to Dynamax. And then there's Bolson, which I really... This is such a standard type of like lead and like turn 1 Dynamax from this kind of combination from a standard way of Ally, but at the same time Ally hasn't been doing that, so it's kind of funny. And then we have Atmosphere Dynamaxing Celesteela. Okay, I did not see that coming, I'm not gonna lie. So we got the EQ, and holy cow, that thankfully didn't hurt that. Bolson does come out though, and then you know you're procting your weakness policy already, and it goes again. Hellstorm will probably KO the Garchomp at this point, but what is Celesteela gonna do? I believe Celesteela does know Max Flare. So, yep. Is that enough to KO the Metagross? And it looks like it is. Oh, the slide for Celesteela. Wait, no. It's not enough to kill the Metagross? Am I crazy? Why is the Metagross... Oh my god, it survived 14 HP! That's insane! Or maybe not, I don't know. Celesteela maybe kind of just sucks. At this point, though, I think this is still very, very much in favor of Celesteela, given that, again, I mean, the Bolson didn't do much. I mean, and then, you know, you KO one thing, but Blizzard's probably gonna come out. And it's very interesting from Ally to save the Metagross. I don't know. I feel like you need to save the Metagross. But, we get a Thunderbolt. And, oh, get a Para on Anmon. I think that's huge. Blizzard comes out. We'll KO the land. Oh. Okay, I mean, the weather was gonna KO the Lando, but what is with all these like, are they just not... Maybe I don't know my cogs, but why the heck are they not dying in one shot? Jeez. But, yeah, this is looking really, really good for Anmo. As I mentioned, they also have the fact that weather control is on their favor too, and yeah, so this is par, but how are you gonna stop the Blizzard? I mean, Metagross dies this turn to Blizzard. Yeah, you could Bullet Punch and okay, Flare Blitz, but let's see. Okay, Sash is revealed. It's also crit, but I don't know if it matter. Blizzard. Okay, so this is very important. Ninetales did go before Blaziken. Blaziken will get the Flare Blitz out. Oh wait, no, it's because there was the Max Air stream. Yeah, there was the Max Air stream from the previous turn. The recoil kind of sucks, so... But, I mean, this is the thing about Blaziken. You right now have 1 speed boost, and what does Armafear has in the last one? So it has Marowak. This is still Atmosphere game, and Ally realizes, but... Okay, so Blizzard goes out. Okay, so that's not enough to KO. Goes for the Ninetales, and this is actually very important to know, right? +1 Ninetales is still faster than your +1 Blaziken speed boost, and I think that's probably why he probably didn't just close it, and you know, maybe see what the Marowak moves. So yeah, that was very, very well played of Atmosphere. Something about these two players is that they rarely... Well, actually, Ally had Dynamax turn 1 a couple times on his matches, but watching a lot of Atmospheres, he usually doesn't Dynamax turn 1. So I really like how both of them just went with the max turn 1, and definitely it kind of sucks that you know, the things were not dying. So probably they were pretty well EV. Okay, so the Lando had AB. That might have like also been a reason why the Ninetales wasn't hitting as hard. Still kind of insane. So yeah, very interesting how Ally will be actually adapting to things. I think the Metagross, the fact that Latios this time doesn't have Tailwind, it's that the speed control is something that in Atmosphere side has a lot, right? You also have Aurora Veil with a lot of Ninetales that he could set up, And I can totally see Atmosphere leading the same thing. There's nothing for him to, no reason for him not to lead the same thing, but I do know that he in the past has swapped it around. Okay, so this time Atmosphere decides not to swap it around, and same deal with Ally. And I mean, Latios could just Dynamax low-key, but looks like he's opti now, and there's no Dynamax for Metagross. Okay, so Intimidate, just in case, you know, I think we didn't see the item on Garchomp, and then Atmosphere just like, I'm just gonna Dynamax turn 1 again. I don't blame Atmosphere. I think you turn 1 Dynamax is pretty good here. Garchomp went for the Dragon Claw. Okay, Ice Punch. And Ice Punch does KO that Garchomp. Max Searching comes in, does not KO the land, unfortunately. And once again, it's probably the AV, and also because Celesteela sucks. But then you're +1, you are faster, but these things are looking very, very good for Atmosphere. Because, you know, your Celesteela has that speed advantage. Ally is kind of forced to, like, Dynamax or sacrifice the Lando. And I think you might as well just sacrifice the Lando, right? And then, yeah, the double into the Marowak makes sense, because you won't KO the Celesteela, and you know that your Metagross is gonna survive. Like, absolutely, you're gonna survive the Max Flare if Celesteela decides to go with. But instead of that, Atmosphere goes again for a Max Instrument. You know, I don't know if I agree with that, but you know, 1 for 1. I think at this point, Max Flow will kill the Metagross though, but you sacrifice 2 months for this to happen from Atmosphere side. So that exchange doesn't seem to be worth it. And Ninetales is probably coming in the back. And if Ninetales is coming in the back, that just really sucks, man. I wish I had seen Ninetales instead of Marowak. Because Atmosphere should have known that that Flare-Blade was never gonna kill. Yeah, so yeah, Ninetales was in the back, so that's very interesting that they decided to go with that. I'm not I think this is for Ally's game now. I mean, you can do the Bosom, but I don't see why. Maxwell, okay, going for, oh, that doesn't even that. See, I don't agree with this. You lose your sash now. You should have gone for the other thing. I mean, Celesteela survives, but what is the Ninetales hitting? A Blind Blizzard? Oh, it is hitting a Blind Blizzard. I feel like Atmosphere had to misplay. That had to be a misplay, man. This is really, really unfortunate, and I honestly call this GG's. I don't think Atmosphere can recover from this. So good job on Ally from doing this. Maybe there was like a targeting issue, and again, it's what I yeah. So just killing himself. The Blind Blizzard kind of suck. I mean, and yeah, you miss another Blizzard, bro. This Ninetales. I mean, it is in Sun, and I don't know. Does Ninetales not have another move? Because that's very, very unfortunate. But I can understand what he was going for. It's just very unfortunate. So GG's, and now we get an amazing game 3. Man, finals with a game 3. Still looking forward. I think the 4 that each of them are bringing are pretty good. I do believe that game 2 Atmosphere. I don't know why he had the I don't think Marowak had to come that. If you were gonna max Surf Stream, I honestly will have just brought Ninetales again and just Blizzard. Or you should have just, you know, not max Surf Stream and just max Flare and take the damage on. No, actually, yeah, Blizzard makes more sense. And hope that, you know, you kind of chip that Metagross good enough. So yeah, I think that's my biggest pet peeve about how Atmosphere played that last match. Now, are they gonna be changing things? I do think Atmosphere probably is gonna bring the same for. Maybe might not bring the Marowak. I just don't see like the point of bringing that Marowak. Like it's super weak to a lot of the things that Ally have. Now Ally has a choice because I think Ally has the flexibility of changing things up, and you know you saw how much you survive most of the attacks. Like your Metagross can Ice Punch just kills the Garchomp in one go, and yeah, it looks like Ally is like these are the four. And I agree, absolutely agree with this four. I like the Landos coming in first because high chances is you're gonna get a Intimidate on the Garchomp, and I believe it's not White Herb, so maybe it's like Scarf or something. I should have seen the match from Atmosphere's point of view. But yeah, the Intimidate is huge. And here's like, Garchomp is just gonna die here. Unless he protects. Okay, I don't agree with sacrificing your Ninetales, man. I think you had to let go of your Garchomp now. If the Ninetales survives a double up, huge. But if not, I think this is gonna be looking really, really good turn 1 for Atmosphere already. Okay, so we were seeing Dynamis. I believe we're probably gonna be an exchange of Maxer streams. Because I feel like you're not gonna kill the Latios. Ice Beam. Yeah, Maxer. Oh, I don't know if the crit matters, but it really sucks. Because the Max Airstream probably was gonna KO because it's Sash though, so it was like no bulk at all. So you get a Max Airstream. Doesn't even kill the Latios. Again, we saw like the amount of damage that the Latios could soak up. And this is what I'm saying. It's like I will have honestly sacrificed my Garchomp. Why do you need Garchomp in here? So Marowak comes in now, and this sucks. You needed that Ninetale, and it's just not looking good for Admo. I think having Ninetales was very, very important. There was a high chance he was calling out not the double blast, but it's like, why not? Like, Ally went for your, and again, so the protect here is pretty wise. I agree. I like calling it out. Latios dies, and we're gonna just see another exchange of Maxer streams between each other, probably, because I don't see how else you're gonna kill the things. Oh, Max Steel Spike. Okay. I mean, I like that. You're already under speeding, so this is still. It's still not looking good. Like, what was the whole point of Marowak? Is it like a Metagross check? But like, even if you check the Metagross, the other stuff kills Marowak. So Ally is debating, do I bring Metagross and sack it, or do I bring Blaziken? And I think you just sack Metagross if anything. And then I think this Metagross doesn't have Protect, right? Yeah, it doesn't. So Loki would just the ideal thing you do is hopefully you get a double Protect on Marowak, and you kill the Metagross. Okay, you bring Garchomp again. I don't know why. Jesus Christ. I think that crit might matter. Maybe I don't know if I agree with this. And again, you're ignoring the Metagross that you could have just killed. I think you should have killed. If you were gonna sacrifice a mon for mon, you had to kill. So yeah, this is not looking good at all for Atmosphere, and I think this is called GG's. And I probably will if Atmosphere, I'm very interested as like why Marowak. I feel like Marowak was dead weight, absolutely dead weight in this team, and probably sucks because they thought that he probably was gonna potentially protect. Flash cannon, bro. The thing, like, that's just very, very unfortunate. Yeah, this is why. No, I don't agree with the protect there. Like, but yeah, this is very unfortunate. I think the swaps probably came from like some reads, and they just didn't work out. I do think Atmosphere had to risk it and try to KO as many things, but Marowak, not probably the right call. And that is it. And you guys can see my thumbnails. But let me go back to my other screen.